Hey, welcome to another episode of Fitness Franchise Business Secrets. I am your host, Forrest Walden, founder and CEO of Iron Tribe. And today I have the privilege of having Hayden Clark on the show, who is a multi-unit franchisee with Iron Tribe and has been multi-year franchisee and has actually participated in various levels of the organization, from coach to manager to owner. So anyway, Hayden, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, excited to be here and have a conversation.
Awesome. So give us a little background about you, how you found Iron Tribe, and how that all started for you.
So I won't give the long take on this story because there's a lot of details that are worth mentioning, but for the sake of keeping this reasonable, I'll give the highlights. So I started with Iron Tribe in September of 2014 or October. I got married in September of 14 and was moving to New Orleans, and how the story goes of me learning about Iron Tribe, I was actually taking out trash to a dumpster at New Orleans Baptist Seminary. I was getting my glorified dorm room ready for my bride, so that once we got married, we'd move in and she didn't have to worry about furniture or anything like that. And a guy named Justin Phillips was driving past me, and he said, "Hey man, I'm heading to Iron Tribe to catch a workout. You should join me. And in fact, I know that you're a trainer. They're actually looking for a new coach right now. It might be a good opportunity for you to meet the manager." And so, what do you know? I hop in the car, go down to Iron Tribe downtown NOLA. First impressions, beautiful facility. It was a full class, great workout, 45 minutes. We broke it down. There were so many elements of the class that I instantly fell in love with, just as somebody who was delivering a fitness experience, but without as much structure as what I had just experienced in that class. And so got to talking with the manager 2 months later, after what seemed like I was getting hired for the FBI. I got my first full-time gig as a co-coach at Iron Tribe downtown NOLA.
So you were in seminary.
Yep, I was in seminary. I was thinking that I would be in some form of full-time vocational ministry at the time. I was actually looking into Bible translation overseas, different missionary organizations like the IMB, and all that to say, I get a phone call one day from former President Jim Cavell, and he had just sat down with a meeting with Kate and Carrie Jenkins, who were the owners of Iron Tribe New Orleans at the time. And they basically informed him about who I was and that I'd be moving back to Baton Rouge because my wife got a teaching position, and that they should reach out to me to see if I'd be interested in becoming a franchisee. They thought I would do a good job. Jim calls. I'm sitting in that glorified dorm room. I think it was less than 500 square feet. Our first year of marriage was very intimate. And so I answer, and, of course, I'm like, "Oh, big deal. This is Jim. Why is he calling me?" And so he tells me he just met with Kate and Carrie, that had I considered an opportunity to open my own Iron Tribe. And I just kind of chuckled and said, "That sounds like a great idea. I don't have any money, so I don't know how that's going to unfold." He said, "Don't worry about that. I'm going to help you put together a pro forma. You'll pitch it at, I think it was like a vision day for prospective franchisees." My dad came along just as in an advisory role, helping me make good decisions. And long story short, my family ended up saying, "Hey, let's do this together." And we became franchisees. I believe it was the end of 2016.
Yeah, and so you worked as a coach for, I guess, a couple
Yep.
years, 2 years in the system as you were finishing up school,
Yeah.
and then the opportunity led to become a franchisee. But there was some wrestling with, man, I've been training to be a pastor or go minister. What was the connection of, man, I could actually do that right here in a gym? Like for some people, that'd be like, wow, that's a big departure.
Yeah, I think for me, one, didn't become a Christian until my senior year of high school. So the church world, missions, vocational ministry was a whole new world to me in the first place. I really predominantly pursued ministry out of just the change that Christ made in my life. I'm kind of a 0 to 100 personality. And so that to me meant, all right, go to seminary. And then that also naturally made me think I need to do vocational ministry. So that was just the kind of the linear thinking there. And then as time went on throughout my undergrad, for my first 2.5 years, I was actually commuting to the seminary on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I was doing personal training and group fitness out of Baton Rouge at a local gym here. And so, make the transition, met Justin Phillips, get connected. I was a coach for about a year before Jim and I had that conversation, and I think it just became abundantly clear that I was doing ministry. I was helping people change their life physically, mentally, and spiritually through the vehicle of Iron Tribe. And God just continued to slap me over the head and say, "Hey, here's your mission field. Here's your platform to make a difference in people's lives, practically develop good relationships, and maybe even have a spiritual impact." So it it was just a natural transition of this makes sense. It basically connects both my passions for fitness and people under one roof, and the doors just kept opening. So I kind of took the view of, if it's God's will, the doors will shut. If otherwise, I'll just keep walking through the doors, and here we are.
So you went on, opened that first location mid-city, not far from where you grew up, and off to a great start there, and grew it, and now have opened a second location. You're a multi-unit owner, so talk a little bit about just that experience of moving from coach to then owner, franchisee.
Yeah, I can remember in the initial stages of signing the franchise documents and just realize not really fully understanding what that even the commitment that I just made. But I knew that my family was a part of it, which instilled in me just this great sense of faith and trust from my parents to leverage their hard-earned funds to bless me with the opportunity to do what I love through Iron Tribe. So I wanted to do everything I could to make them proud. And I think in my head initially that meant, all right, let me be the best coach that I possibly can. And I remember going through like the FMS certification, and I was starting the precision nutrition coach certification. But then we found a location, we bought the property. I ended up overseeing the construction with the help of a GC. So I basically turned into a contractor, making sure things were staying on schedule. Then I started doing pre-sales, meeting with members, prospective members at coffee shops all throughout Baton Rouge. And we were fortunate enough to sign up 78 people before the doors ever even opened. And I think at that point I realized, man, I won't have much time to be a coach with as many meetings as I'm having with prospective members who are interested in what we can offer them. And so hired a few coaches. And for the first year or so, I coached off and on just where I needed to, but I quickly kind of grew my coaching staff. And that allowed me to really focus on making sure we were delivering our 3 C's of class structure, coaching, and culture. And yeah, I may have not answered that question perfectly.
Well, yeah, you did, but I think what I'm drawing from it is you went into it thinking, for me to be a successful franchisee, a successful gym owner, I got to be the best coach. I got to be the best at the product. And what
Yep.
you real quickly learned is, no, I've got to delegate all that stuff, because now my role is the marketing and the sales and the leadership and all the stuff that we teach you on the management and ownership side of the house. But it's really easy to think, man, for me to have a great gym, I need to be a great trainer, right?
Yeah, and I think Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to communicate. The precision nutrition textbook collected dust over the last several years, but as far as impact goes, I was able to partner with people who had a passion to deliver our product and do it at a high level, which is really what I wanted in the first place. I knew that if we could deliver a great experience to members, do the right thing again and again and again. I stole this quote from Alex Ramosi. He says, "There's no silver bullets. There's 100 golden BBs." And I think I just had that mindset from the beginning that I was building something in Baton Rouge that needed to be much bigger than myself. And as soon as I opened the doors, I realized that no matter if I was even the most experienced coach, that wouldn't allow us to have the greatest impact. What would allow me to have the greatest impact is to partner with other people who shared my passion for people and fitness and the way of adding coaches, so that I could go and market and do the sales and ultimately have a much greater impact than just me delivering the class experience. So yeah, going pre-opening the doors, thought I needed the best coach, product. Post-open the doors, I realized to have a thriving fitness community, I need to focus on the business side and leadership of running a successful Iron Tribe.
What you're describing reminds me so much of one of my all-time favorite books, The E-Myth, right? And the entrepreneurial myth is to be a great gym owner, you should be a great trainer. To be a great hairstylist, or a great salon owner, you should be a great hairstylist. And really, yes, it's great to understand the technical side and the product side, but really where the magic is made is the back end systems and the leadership and everything you have to do as the owner, the sales, the marketing, all that. And you work yourself out of a job until you get to a place where you are now, where you get to oversee your two gyms and you get to oversee your two managers. And hopefully, long gone are the days where you're there bell to bell, working, and sometimes that's required in the beginning. But ultimately, talk
Absolutely.
about kind of your role now and what you get to enjoy about what you do with two locations who are both crushing it, doing amazingly well. Top in the top, probably top five in the brand. So kind of talk about what your role looks like now.
Yeah, so there's always different seasons. Currently, I'm actually in a quasi uh, dual leadership slash doing some of the sales at Mid City. We're down a coach at Mid City, so Aaron, who is the community manager there, stepped back on the floor for the last several weeks. But we actually just hired a new coach, so my typical role now will very much be just leading Austin and Aaron. We have a 90-minute meeting once a week. We talk about all the opportunities ahead of us, the week to come, the weeks ahead, the months ahead, and we just strategically plan to make sure that they're leading the coaches well and then the coaches are serving our members well. So it's really the way that I see it is the best use of my time is divided up between making sure that the community managers have everything they need to be successful in leading each of their gyms, as well as I also have been doing the marketing for the last 12 to 18 months. So I learned a lot there. Ethan on y'all's teams helped me a ton to run ads myself, which has saved us a lot of money that we can reinvest back into the ads themselves. And so um, also do some of the financial aspects of running both the gyms. And so it's definitely more non day to day tasks and responsibilities, and then really just helping continue to create the vision for where we're going, uh, the boat that we're on, direction we're headed, making sure that we have the right people. So I focus a lot on, I've learned now more than ever with two gyms, the importance of finding the right people and putting them in the right seat. I think with one location, not that it wasn't as important, it just wasn't as challenging. And I've definitely walked through a lot of growing pains personally and professionally in going from one to two. But I think we're starting to find our footing as a team, and things don't feel as like you have a newborn.
Yep.
Our second location's been open 15, 16 months. So there's a lot more stability now than even 6 months ago.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who want to scale don't realize how hard the move is from one to two, right? Because at one, you can still catch all the balls, even when you don't think you are, even when you think you like, you can still step in. But when you move to two, it's just a whole new skill set. And I know, you and I even talking about how even walking in the number one and getting comments from clients like, "Oh, look who decided to show up today," right?
Hmm.
You have to work through all that and not find your identity and being the guy who's on the floor all day, and really understanding by you stepping back and assuming leadership, you're now able to impact way more people than you could
Yep.
like before when you were coaching in Baton Rouge with just a handful of clients. And then even when you had one gym, now with two, you're able to impact and cast vision. So I want to talk a little bit about that. You're a big EOS guy. We're an EOS team. You're executing that, and that's allowing you to communicate effectively with your team about who are we as Baton Rouge group franchisees and where you're going. And I know you want more than two, and so you have a vision to continue to grow. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so we started implementing EOS about 18, 20 months ago, around the time that y'all started to do the same thing. And interestingly enough, I think I've kind of arrived where y'all have for the brand vision that's right behind you in terms of how we're going to get to our 1 year, 3 year, and our 10 year goals. But in the next 10 years, I'd love to see myself be able to give five other people the same opportunity that I was given 6.5 years ago to open up my own gym. And so I think we've done that well in partnering with the right person in Austin Bro, and he's more than done an amazing job of launching Perkins to a great healthy place where it's a thriving fitness community that's continuing to grow and expand and its opportunity to impact more lives. So I'd like to continue to do that. So hopefully in the next year we're committing to another location, and that would be the immediate next step. And then 3 to 4 more within the next 10 years would be the goal. And again, I think to your point of realizing that being an underservant is actually more impactful. So I don't need to receive all the credit or recognition or know everybody or everybody know me. That's been abundantly clear at Perkins. I think that the values that I value, the culture that I want to have in place with the team there is still really important for me to have my hands on. But that doesn't mean that there's a many people at Iron Tribe Perkins who really, outside of maybe an email or a picture, don't know really who I am. That doesn't mean that if I'm in class, I'm not trying to get to know everybody as best I can. It just looks different than whenever at Mid City, I really was kind of the mayor of fitness, as Matt
Mm-hmm.
White used to say. That's what you want to be. But I think now it excites me more to think about a day where there's five other people who share the same wiring and passions as I do to be in the fitness industry, and to come alongside them and invest in them, both financially and the resources that we have with Iron Tribe, as sorry, as well as just my experience over the last 6.5 years, and help them flourish and thrive and create a thriving fitness community of their own.
So, in order to do that, there's got to be systems, there's got to be structure, there's got to be the ability to scale and replicate. How important has your decision to be a franchisee and leverage the systems that have been built? How important has that been to your success? Because, I mean, when you started, you were a young guy, right?
Yeah,
So, it's not like
yeah, I
you were
was
bringing
25.
25. So, just talk to me a little bit about system, structure, support, and how it's enabled you to do what you've been able to do.
Yeah, there is absolutely no doubt. People ask me this question all the time. Could you have done what you've done without the support of a franchise? Or and I think it's not a valid question, because the truth of the matter is no one knows. And I can just speak from the experience I have had with having the support of you and everyone else on the leadership team, and the systems that y'all have worked so hard to build and change when needed over the years and in recent history. I would not be where I am without the system support and structure that you set from the top down, and the support of Karen, Jenny, Lauren, Ethan. I mean, I can go on and on. The numerous amounts of support that I've gotten over the last 6.5 years. You can always be in a headspace that feels differently at times and feel like you're on an island, but I think that's just entrepreneurship at its finest, or leadership. You just feel isolated and feel like you're trying to get that flywheel going, and it's hard. But if the flywheel is going well for us at the moment, I think it's as a result of a lot of things, but having good systems, a solid product, and support when I have questions or concerns or I don't know the answer, and I can just call somebody up on the corporate team and run it by them. Like, y'all are actually in the business operating, what is it, 8, 9 locations now?
Nine.
I'm losing count. Ultimately, I'd like to have more than 9 locations and beat y'all. But
There you go.
so I mean, Ricky said that. He said at one of our meetings. He said my objective whenever I got into Express Oil Change was to do it better than the corporate office, and
That's
so
right.
that's where I'm always aiming, and it keeps me hungry and just it gives me a lot of purpose. But
On the flip side, people always ask me what makes the successful franchisees from the non-successful franchisees, because it's the same tools, the same system, it's the same support. It's the guys who execute and who continue to grow and develop themselves, which you've done that in spades, and it's why you've got to, and the ability to, to continue to partner with your dad who believes in you and has been there every step of the way. I guess as we close, one of the biggest questions I knew I wanted to ask you is, I think it was your first TribeCon, or maybe you didn't even go to this TribeCon. Maybe you saw the video, but I know you heard David Platt, who did our invocation that year, say, "Keep the bottom line, change lives." And really, of anybody in the system that I can think of, you have adopted that the most and really made that a part of your ethos as a brand, as a community, as your 2 gyms, your staff. Talk a little bit about what that means to you and how you guys try to live that out.
Yeah, so I wasn't at that TribeCon, but Kate and Carrie were, and they shared that with me. And from my very first day, even just as a coach at Iron Tribe NOLA, my focus was, and my motto, if you will, was to keep the bottom line, life changed. That devotional that David Platt gave, just, I mean, I think it resonates a lot with me personally, and then also, bleeds into how I would want to lead myself professionally, and making sure that when I put my head down at night, I know that I've done everything in my capacity to serve others well. And I knew that whether the bottom line was in the black or in the red, that if I mainly focused on that, and that was my heartbeat, that eventually the bottom line would take care of itself. And he added that to in that conversation. And he said that a lot of owners, they're just so fixated on the financials and the numbers. Well, to be honest, I didn't study finance. I didn't study numbers. I couldn't even tell you a whole lot about our P&Ls for really honestly up until the last 18 to 24 months, which I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
Well, I did kind of
I
chuckle when
would,
you said you're doing finance now, because I know your history.
yeah,
So I love that you've come that far.
well, I've had to. It's just the nature of what I can do to serve the bigger picture of what we're trying to accomplish here. But yeah, that message I actually have it behind the manager's desk at both Mid City as well as at Perkins, and it's on the walls in different places. And I think that that's something that our team's passionate about. Is hey, we're not going to focus on the financial upside of the delivering a good experience. It's kind of like Truett Cathy said, we're in the people business. We just happen to sell chicken. That's what we're doing at Iron Tribe. We're in the people business. We just happen to sell fitness. And so the more we can focus on people, and as the Gittemans stated so well years ago, whenever I think they were the Tribe comeback story of the year, they really just focused on making people feel seen and loved. And so I think between the motto of keeping the bottom line lives change and making people feel seen and loved, that just encapsulates what I believe God's called me to as His child and as a business owner. And those are the things that I can control. I can control keeping the bottom line lives change. I can control whether our team's making people feel seen and loved. The economy, I have no control over. The financials, I have no control over, honestly. It's all gift, the good and the bad. I try to take it in stride. We've been through rough patches, we've been through the highest of highs, but keeping the bottom line lives change has just been our true north, and it's helped me always have purpose, no matter if we've been extremely financially successful on any given month, or if we weren't, if we lost money. So having a bigger purpose is huge in this business. And if you don't have one and you're aiming at the money, man, you're going to be miserable real quick.
Yeah, it may not be the brand for you, right?
Yeah,
Keeping the bottom line change lives just ties in perfectly with our overall purpose as a brand, which is to create fitness communities that change lives. And you're doing that now with two, and hopefully more down the road. And you're an inspiration. And the reason why your two gyms are at the top is because you do have a servant mentality and you do own that responsibility. And I love that about you. And so I want people to hear your story, because I think a lot of people could connect with who you are and what you bring to the table and how you've been able to do it, at 25 years old. I opened my first gym at 24, so, with my dad. So I see a lot of myself in your story. And so anyway, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Any final words to anybody who might be watching this, might be considering potentially an Iron Tribe opportunity?
Yeah, well, one, thanks for watching. Forrest, thanks for the opportunity to tell my story. If you want the extended version, or if you have any other questions, I'm sure that we'll have ways to reach out to me. You could reach out on Facebook or send me a message. I'd be happy to get on a phone call with you and discuss anything more. Iron Tribe has completely changed my life. It's given me an opportunity to do something that I love and make a really great impact in other people's lives. So if you're considering it, and if anything that I've said has resonated with you, reach out. I'd love to talk with you.
All right, guys, we'd love to talk to you as well. IronTribeFranchise.com if you want more information, or just hang out on this page. We'll keep dropping content and more episodes. So, Hayden, hope you have a great day. I'm going to get out of this unair-conditioned office because my AC just went out and I'm sweating. So, see you, bud.
Go for it. See ya.